All right. The next one I've got makes From Justin to Kelly look like a masterpiece uh, of musical cinema. This one is called Popstar, and it stars Aaron Carter, who was a celebrity never was. I feel like he was briefly a thing, very briefly, but plays a sort of thin facsimile of himself in this movie as a high school age student who is also a pop celebrity that needs to go to school for reasons. Uh, and then you have an ugly duckling story with the super nerd at the school who is super, super smart but has braces and is therefore not attractive. Uh, and is also like a seriously over the top fan of this guy. Like every poster in her room, and there are a lot of them, are of him. Obsessive levels, disturbingly obsessive levels, I would say. Um, any case, she's really the main character. The Aaron Carter is sort of on the the edges of it, and he's definitely the second lead. But the stories are about her. So yeah, she daydreams about stuff and gets bullied by the cheerleaders who were massive dicks. For whatever reason, Aaron Carter's character has to go to high school and decides to go to the high school that this girl is at for reasons, and decides that, according his manager, who's also the director of this movie, uh, tells him that he needs to basically cheat off of an existing high school student so he can get the grades he needs or whatever, because he's really bad at tests and apparently has a phobia of tests. That comes into play at the very end of the movie. In any case, he starts befriending the smartest girl at the school, which is his super fan, and the acting in this is so bad. It is Aaron Carter is not an actor. It's the same problem with From Justin to Kelly. This person is not equipped for this. There's a lot of really bad dialogue, and also just the detachment from reality that this movie has, where he just buys her a Porsche at one point, and whatever, he's like, whatever, I make $10 million a year, I do not care, this is minor, you needed a car, so I got you a top of the line car. I mean, come on, that's weird, that's super weird. And the dad is the most oblivious dude ever and doesn't realize that he's like a super celebrity until she shows him an article in a magazine. Like, if this character is as big a deal as the movie portrays, and she has all of this stuff of his just in her bedroom. If the father has any like involvement in the daughter's life, he would have figured out who that was, or just any like pop cultural like understanding or coherence or like awareness. Like the mother or stepmother, I think, instantly knows who it is. She sees him and is like, "You're that guy." And actually looks, he's in the bedroom and sees the poster. It's like, wow, you're that celebrity dude. But the father doesn't get it for a while. So you got some really dumb, aggravating characters in this. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else happens here. Anyway, the story moves along, and they sort of have a quasi relationship, but it's never like explicitly stated till the very end of the movie. He apparently has some celebrity like relationship thing that's on the rocks somewhere. Who cares? Um, and eventually, things happen. There's a prom, there's an award show, or whatever. There's some rocky bits of jealousy and whatever. She discovers that he just wants to cheat off of her test. He is caught about the cheating, and then through stupid things that would not actually work in real life, he gets to redo the test and face his phobia of tests by taking the test sitting on a stage with the lights flashing at him. Because apparently that's his safe space, and the only place where he feels comfortable is on a stage. So the professor or the teacher who discovers he was cheating decides, okay, you gave a really good speech, so I'm going to let you retake this test that you cheated on and I caught you cheating on, and let you retake the test, go out of my way to situate the lighting setup on the stage, and sit in there in the auditorium with you while you retake this test, instead of just failing you, which is what would actually happen. Because if you have, like, testing anxiety, you tell somebody that you have testing anxiety, and then they will help you somehow. You don't just cheat on the test and then afterwards say, well, I had testing anxiety. That ain't gonna fly. Guarantee that's not gonna fly. So whatever. And eventually he discovers that, Aaron Carter's character discovers that he actually loves her, or whatever, at some point for reasons. And, whatever. Who cares? My favorite part of this movie, and the only part I actually, like, legitimately laughed at and had a lot of fun with, the very end of this movie, they're together on a beach, and I'm trying to remember her name, and the lead of the movie, Aaron Carter's love interest person, says, I've written a story. Do you want to hear about it? And he's like, yeah, well, it's a love story. And he's like, oh, does it end with, like, they lived happily ever after and stuff? And she's like, well, no. And it's like, wait, no? But then she, like, saves it by, like, saying, oh, well, it ends with a kiss or whatever. And that's a fine, whatever, stupid, cheesy ending to a movie, but it immediately fades out of that shot and fades into the screen of her computer, in which there is, like, a paragraph and a half of text that, that is some of the worst writing. Like, it establishes earlier that, again, she's a perfectionist and a super academic who they established that she has full rides to, like, Stanford and UC Berkeley just laying there for her, and she has her pick of where she's going to go. Perfect SAT score, all that. But this writing is so prominently featured on the screen, so it's not an Easter egg. It's supposed to be there. It's about 2 paragraphs of, this is the story of a high school princess and a pop star. It ends happily. All stories should end with a happy ending, but they don't. And then it ends, like, with an ellipses, and then a follow-up ellipses, and in all caps with 3 exclamation points, and then they kissed. So when she said, I wrote this story, I mean, you would logically think, well, she didn't actually write this story. She's, like, talking about their relationship through the veil of talking about a hypothetical story. But no, that's not the case. She actually wrote a story, and it's the most amateurish, crappy story you've ever seen, and it's not even, like, a structure. It doesn't even have, like, the plot outlined. It just has a few little fun facts, like the name of the beach they're at. She actually bothered to write that down, so she did write a story, but it turns out she can't write at all. It is so bad. In fact, I will add the screenshot and then record exactly what this says, because I freeze-framed it and screen-capped it, and this is the only legitimate laugh I had the whole movie.
This is the story of a high school princess and a pop star. It ends at magic hour at Westwood Beach. Quite a romantic spot. This story has a happy ending. All stories should have a happy ending, but they don't. Anyways, they will live happily ever after, just like in the movies. He wants her, she wants him, and they kissed!
I don't know what they were thinking. I imagine they were like, hey, that would be a good way to end this movie. Let's show that story. But nobody really wanted to put forth the effort to actually write a bunch of text for the screen on the computer, except they wanted to have the end of, and then they kissed, to establish that's what happened or whatever. So instead of actually, like, writing some bullshit, obviously they couldn't just write random keys because people would notice. They wrote the stupidest thing they could find. And then, yeah, it's impressive. It's mighty impressive. So that is Popstar. I don't recommend it at all. It's really, really, really boring. And the choreography, what there is in it, at the performances at, like, the beginning and sort of throughout, is so bad. The acting is so bad. There's just nothing. There's nothing. I saw one review that referred to this as, like, if The Room was made for tweens. And yeah, it's not kind of like that, but without the funny aspects of it. So that's Popstar for you.
For J.D. McQueen, life was perfect, except for one thing.
You're failing.
So what? I'm a pop star.
You are going to be a normal kid at a normal high school.
For Jane, life was ordinary, until love came knocking on her door.
You might have a girlfriend, is that true?
Now that they've found each other, life will never be the same.
I'd like to thank Jane Brighton. You taught me everything.
Aaron Carter stars in Popstar, now available on DVD.